Have you ever found yourself completely stuck trying to get a passport or a driver's license, all because you couldn't track down one single piece of paper? Well, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a massive mountain of state bureaucracy and turning it into a super straightforward, stress-free guide. We're going to walk step by step through exactly how you can navigate Maine's vital record system to order a birth certificate online without pulling your hair out. Think about it for a second. Need a new passport? Upgrading to a real ID? Or maybe you're just enrolling your kid in a new school. Without a birth certificate, you are literally stuck in neutral. It's the ultimate key to unlocking everyday life. But here is the awesome news. Getting a certified copy in Maine right from your couch is incredibly easy once you know exactly how their specific system works.
Okay, let's dive right into this. The absolute first thing you need to wrap your head around when dealing with Maine is the number 75. See, Maine has this incredibly strict 75-year privacy law on the books. What does that mean for us? It means any birth record that is less than 75 years old is heavily restricted to protect against fraud and identity theft. You can't just hop online and order your neighbor's birth certificate for fun. You've got to prove you actually have a right to it. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, why these certificates matter. Then we'll look at Maine's vital records system, run through the step-by-step online ordering, cover payment and submission, talk about receiving your copy, and finally wrap up with some troubleshooting and final tips. Starting off with Section 1, why birth certificates matter. So, this single piece of paper, it's basically your foundational proof of identity. Whether you're applying for that passport, getting a driver's license, or handling some serious legal affairs, this document is an absolute necessity. You literally cannot move forward with major life events without proving exactly who you are and where you were born. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how that 75-year privacy law actually plays out. Maine has these very specific direct and legitimate interest rules. Basically, you have to fit into one of these specific buckets to order a restricted certificate. You're good to go if you're the person named on the record, a parent listed on the document, a spouse or direct descendant, like a child or grandchild. Legal guardians can apply too if they have the official court papers. Oh, and fun fact, registered genealogists can actually access these records as well, but they're only allowed to receive a non-certified informational copy. Moving right along to Section 2, Maine's vital records system. Okay, so Maine is actually pretty unique because it operates on what's called a dual registry system. What that means is custodial authority is basically split in half. Your vital records don't just live on one giant server at the state capitol. Nope, they're kept at the state level by the Maine CDC in Augusta, but they are also kept locally at the municipal clerk's office in the exact town or city where you were born. So your record actually lives in two different places at the exact same time. Kind of cool, right? Because of this dual system, you actually have two completely official online avenues to choose from. First, there's VitalCheck. They're an authorized vendor that searches the centralized state database. Then there's Inform-E, which is the state's municipal portal that routes your request straight to the local town clerks. Both of these are totally legit. It really just comes down to whether you want to ping the big central state database or check with your local town office. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Section 3, step-by-step online ordering. Before you even think about opening a new tab in your browser, you really need to gather your details so your session doesn't time out while you're hunting for paperwork. You're going to need the full name on the record, the date of birth, the exact city or town in Maine where the birth happened, and both parents' full names. And a quick heads up, that absolutely must include the mother's maiden name. You'll also need a valid photo ID sitting right there with you, like your driver's license or passport. And this brilliantly illustrates the actual journey you're going to take online. Step 1, pick your platform. So either VitalCheck or Inform-E. Step 2, punch in all those birth details we just went over. Step 3 is where it gets real. You've got to pass an identity check. A lot of the time, this is just an automated system throwing a few verification questions your way based on public records, or maybe checking your driver's license number. And finally, Step 4. If you're ordering a copy for someone else, say your parent or your grandchild, you're going to have to upload proof of your lineage. Basically, you upload your own birth certificate to prove you're actually related. Up next, Section 4, payment and submission process. So let's talk numbers. Here is the official fee structure set by the state of Maine. That first certified copy is going to run you $15. But, and this is a huge pro tip, notice that any additional copies of the exact same record ordered at the exact same time are only $6 each. So if there's even a slight chance you'll need one copy for a passport and another one for a school enrollment later on, it is highly, highly cost-effective to just order 2 or 3 copies right out of the gate. Oh, and if you just need a non-certified informational copy, that's just $10.
Now, so the crucial point here is a super strict security rule you absolutely must know about. If you're using an online platform like VitalCheck, your shipping address absolutely must match your credit card billing address. This isn't a suggestion, it's a hard-coded anti-fraud measure. If you try to pay with your card, but tell them to ship the certificate to your office or a friend's house, the system will immediately flag and reject your order. Just keep that in mind to avoid a very frustrating decline at checkout. Section 5. Receiving your certificate.
So when do you actually get this thing? Well, online platforms typically review your application within 24 hours just to catch any glaring typos before they officially submit it. From there, standard online processing usually takes about 7 to 10 business days before it's shipped out to you. Now, if you decide to completely bypass the online portals and mail a physical paper application directly to the government, well, you're going to need some real patience. Standard government mail processing can take anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks. Yeah, up to 3 months. So settle in if you go that route. When that envelope finally does arrive, you need to know what you're actually looking at because Maine issues 2 different types of certificates. The long-form certificate is the full-blown legal document. It lists your parents' information and is universally accepted for things like federal documents and international travel. The short-form certificate, on the other hand, is basically just an abstract. It shows your name, birth date, and sex, but it totally leaves out the parental data, which means it has very limited acceptance. The good news? When you order online through these official portals, they typically issue you the long-form version by default.
Final stretch, Section 6, Troubleshooting and Final Tips.
Okay, so what happens if you hit a snag? Sometimes that automated ID check during Step 3 just straight up fails. Maybe you just moved, or maybe your credit history is a little thin, and the computer just can't verify you using public records. Listen, do not panic. If the automated system flags you, it's really just doing its job to protect your identity. You'll simply be prompted to upload scanned images or, honestly, just clear photos from your smartphone of your physical ID and any of that proof of lineage we talked about. It's a completely standard backup procedure, so just have those photos handy on your phone or computer just in case.
Real quick, before we wrap things up, I do need to give a standard disclaimer. While this explainer is designed to be a super comprehensive and accurate guide based on current sources, government fees, rules, and procedures are literally always subject to change. So always verify the final details directly with the Maine CDC Office of Vital Records or your local town clerk's official website before you hand over your credit card info. At the end of the day, the state of Maine holds the ultimate authority on this stuff. Getting your hands on a birth certificate really doesn't have to be a headache once you actually understand the system. But, it does make you think. Isn't it kind of wild how our entire identity, our ability to travel the globe or even just drive a car, ultimately hinges on one single piece of paper locked away in a dual registry system? It's crazy. Anyway, have you navigated Maine's vital records system recently? Did you use the central state portal, or did you end up going through your local town clerk? Drop your tips or any questions down in the comments below. Thanks for hanging out and learning with this explainer, and we will see you next time.